And you were talking about fire extension cords and
Yes,
electrical cords as
yes.
well, and people tend to overload those, I know, in the house, and sparks fly from that. So
Right.
let's talk about that.
The electrical cords are another #1 cause of our fires when we get out there.
Okay.
Those surge protector strips, those have a shelf life. They're not good forever.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are.
And how long is that?
You know, I can't tell you an exact number. I think it's around the 10-year mark, but I can't give you an exact. I don't know that exact number, but I know they do have a shelf life. And if whatever one you purchase, make sure you look into it. And that is something you want to spend the extra money for.
Right.
You don't want to get the least expensive surge protector because with electrical components, you're getting what you pay for.
Yes, I always worry about them too being behind things, and the boxes are shoved back there, so
Absolutely.
so many things could quickly burn.
Right.
You know?
Sometimes cords underneath, somehow they end up underneath a bedpost.
Right.
And what happens is you get abrasion, and eventually that wire wears out, and it'll ignite. It'll heat up, and then start the carpet or bedding on fire. There's a lot of any old electrical wires. It's good just to look at them when you're plugging in a new lamp or whatever it is. Get your hand and run it along the wire, and make sure there's no frays or anything that's protruding from the wire. Make sure it feels good all the way through and through. And like I said, those surge protectors are a big problem. You know, those aren't a fail-safe item. You do need to get a good one, and you do need to replace them. A real old one, definitely replace it.
That's great information to know, because I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So, okay, talk about matches and lighter safety as well, because you know, they're not toys, they're tools.
Right.
And something that we have to explain to our children. And just remember, where would you store something like that? Is there a safer place, better place, or?
Well, I personally, I always recommend to keep them out of reach of children, period.
Right.
But along with keeping them out of reach, whether it's in a high cabinet, it could be in the garage, somewhere out of reach of the children. But better than that is to educate your children.
Right,
Make sure they realize fire could be good.
Yep.
We cook with fire. There's many things that fire does to help us, but also at the same time, fire could be very dangerous. And they need to realize how devastating fire is and how easy it is to get away from them. So they need to realize that it is not a toy. Like you said, it is a tool.
Yes.
It is something we use every day, and it does a lot of good, but it can do a lot of bad.
Yeah.
So education is very highly recommended with children.
#1 priority.
#1 priority. Yeah, out of reach is, you can get creative with your out of reach.
Yeah.
High cabinets is always the best place, but anybody who has kids, children get to those high places.
They
find ways to get there.
Now, something else that you and I touched upon with the in-house escape plan that we talked about, that people have one, but then they don't practice it, and then the first time they practice it, they fail.
Right. Well, speaking of, there was a study done with 3rd grade children. There were 4 children they did the study with. They got permission with the parents. They talked about it. They told them what they were going to do.
Okay.
They actually told them they were going to come to the house. They explained to the kids, so the kids weren't in shock.
Right.
But they explained to them there's going to be theater smoke, fake smoke in the room, and they were going to actually, at one point, go through this drill.
Okay.
So they let the parents prepare for about a month. They come with the study. They come with the theater smoke, and they put smoke in the room, and they see what the kids would do. Well, being a good parent, we would all make sure our kids, especially if you know they're going to get this test on a program, they're going to make sure they're all, dialed in and perfect. Well, what they found out was the kids, with those parents, they talked about what they were going to do. They talked about actually doing what these kids, where they were going to go, where they were going to meet, which is all great. That's what we always recommend.
Sure.
But they never practiced it. They never had the kids pretend like smoke was in the room. They never had them crawl out of bed, crawl low. They didn't do all that. And what happened was, when they did the study and they put the theater smoke in, all the kids failed. Every one of them.
Wow.
If it were an actual fire, they would have perished. And these are kids who had just been verbally prepared by their parents. So what they found was that you have to physically practice these drills with the children. Physically go through and have them crawl on the ground and actually do what they're supposed to do. But at the same time, with that study, they found 2 of the 4 families, 2 of the parents, I say the parents failed because 2 of the smoke detectors were not functioning. So that's a heartbreaker too. Once again, they knew the study was coming, and they failed. They came back, and I think it was about 2 weeks. The families actually went through and actually physically practiced all these EDIS home drills, exit drills in the home, and the kids passed with flying colors because they actually practiced it.
Well, and I think the fear factor too, you can't really account for. So if you practice it and you know it's coming, if it does happen, at least you kind of have a plan.
Right, and you know, that's what we do here at the fire station.
Right.
We do drills and we do many things. We practice, and you know, the exact situation we can never predict.
Right.
But what it does is it gives us a chance to come up with a plan. We all get on the same page, and we know what we're going to do.
Now, I know in a house you want to have 2 evacuation plans. Is that right?
Absolutely. You want a primary and secondary because in case your means of egress gets blocked.
Okay.
So you can't always assume the hallway is going to be your exit point.
Okay.
You may have to go out the window. It's good for second-story bedrooms to have those collapsible ladders. They're roll-out ladders.
Oh,
you can go online and look for rescue ladders, and they can, you know, there's many. Once again, there's many different varieties. So you can get one of those online, and they're different lengths, and go through. See, that's another one. Actually practicing. Be very careful, be very safe, but you need to actually go through the motion of how you unroll this, how you get the window open, how you get the screen off, because in the heat of the moment,
you're not thinking about that.
You're not thinking about that. And a simple little latch could be the difference of you getting out and not.
Now, I know you want to stay close to the floor. Why is that?
You want to stay low to the ground. Even if there's a fire, we come in low to the ground because that is your most survivable area.
Okay.
The heated smoking gas goes to the ceiling. It could be over 1,000 degrees at the ceiling and a little over 100 degrees at the floor.
Wow.
So the heated smoking gas, we call it a thermal balance. What it does is you can physically, if you're in a fire, you can physically go up and down and see a layer where the smoke actually stops, and it gives you a little area of survivable air.
Wow.
So we tell people to get down low. Stay out. I mean, we could, if you're on your hands and knees and you stand up, could be the difference between us melting our helmets and getting in there with nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a big deal.
Now, stop, drop, and roll. Why is it more effective to roll around if your clothes are on fire than just ripping them off?
Okay. In the heat of the moment, you could get in panic mode, and taking them off is maybe not the best option because it takes that extra time to get them off, and panic sets in. When you're burning and you're physically burning, you go into fight and flight. Your body just goes on automatic. So it's very scary, and once again, if you have a plan, and your plan is to stop, drop, and roll, would be the best plan. And that what you're doing is smothering the fire. We call the fire triangle. Is what the basic. It's gone more advanced with modern technology. But the basic fire triangle. You need oxygen, you need the fuel, and you need a heat source. You remove one of those, and the fire goes out.
Okay.
So when you're rolling, you're actually smothering it. So you're removing the air from the triangle, and the fire will go out.
And how many times do you have to actually do that before it will go out?
It's just gonna until it goes out.
Keep rolling. Right?
I would keep going even after it went out, just to make sure.